fans, Harrison, and my co-host who is backstage because we are having tech issues and we are extremely organised, as you can see by the tweet and the panic tweets. It was going to be a film room on just in Houston, but now we're doing a mock round draft, one round draft. So, Xzavier, if you just want to shout hello from the background. Yeah, that's good. I can hear you. That means it's good. That means it's working. And hopefully, this all goes to plan. Let me just do some up very quickly. Okay, that's all. So yeah, so this is going to be just one round. We're going to talk through every team, every who they're going to pick or who we think they're going to pick. It's going to be interesting. So it's not just for Colts fans; it's for the whole league. Let's get into it. Pick number one. Are we thinking anything other than Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, I mean he's up. I don't watch a lot of college football, but what I've seen from him, he is the next prospect. He is the next big thing from what I can see. So we just drafting him straight off the bat. Nothing really to argue there, is there? Just big, tall, quick, prototypical what everyone wants in a quarterback. Yeah, that's okay. So that's the number one overall pick. We both believe is the QB Trevor Lawrence from Clemson going to Jacksonville and a new Jacksonville team with Urban Myers at the helm. Okay, pick number two, New York Jets. Obviously, big news. They traded away Sam Darnold. So, I mean, is this a quarterback? This is going to be quarterback heavy. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, this is a predictive board, so this isn't what we think where we think these players are rated. This is just the Draft Network. We've used their predictive board, but they've got Justin Fields down in eighth. I mean, that seems crazy. I mean, I agree, Zach Wilson probably too, but I thought Justin Fields was a locked in second, third out of this QB class. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. I just found something interesting that we can only hear me in the stream. We can't hear you. Oh. It's going well. So, right. Okay, let's just try this. Try and speak now.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Right, I can hear you now. Right, okay. So, apart from talking to myself for the past 7 minutes, I'll give everyone a quick catch up. We just both basically agreed that Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall, and we was just talking about Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, the Jets trading Sam Darnold, which was the blockbuster trade. So I don't want you make you say everything against Xzavier because there's no point. But just quickly sum it up. Zach Wilson going to the Jets, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Any particular reason, or you just like his game translates better, you were saying?
Yeah, I would say for what the Jets have built there, his game would translate much better than what Justin Fields. I feel like Wilson is a better fit in the system for the Jets than Fields is a fit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it just makes more sense in that situation.
Okay, so that's Zach Wilson, quarterback of Bayou, to the New York Jets. Okay, third overall pick. This was part of the blockbuster trade with, I want to say, Miami and Philadelphia. I can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of people questioned this, especially a lot of 49ers fans themselves questioning this trade up. What have the 49ers seen that nobody else has seen? Because they've given up a lot for this pick.
I think the 49ers organization understand who their coach is. In my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, believe it or not, Kyle Shanahan is the best offensive mind in the league. I would tend to agree. I think Jimmy Garoppolo kind of holds him back as a coach. It's kind of like the Jared Goff situation over in Rams camp. You know, they traded Goff away, got Matthew Stafford over there to pair with their coach, who, again, is one of the best offensive minds in the league, but have been kind of held back by this average quarterback. So, right here, I think they're going to take Justin Fields. He's a perfect fit in this scenario. I'm happy Justin Fields isn't going to have to go to the Jets, in all honesty. I want to see him on a good team with a good coach.
Yeah.
So right here, I think this is a no-brainer. I think Justin Fields goes right here any day of the week.
Yeah, I can't see him going any lower than 3 Justin Fields unless there is it will be a big shock on opening night. There we go, Justin Fields down there at 8. I mean, that's just mental. I'm a Ohio State fan to say because they're the college team that I follow, so maybe I'm being biased, but that just seems mental to me because didn't he beat Trevor Lawrence this year in the college or the last college playoffs?
I don't remember that. I mean,
I can't
know
remember.
Justin Fields is a good player, though. Yeah.
I mean, we can get his profile up quickly. I mean, 5-star rating. Let's see if it lets me read it all. God, the scroll down things is like. I mean, that's just. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is just saying he's a clutch player. He can roll in the pocket, etc. So, I mean, for what I've seen from him personally, I like, but he could be. And I think this is what's scaring a lot of people is you look at the last Ohio State quarterback, really to come out of the draft is Dwayne Haskins, and didn't quite work out for him. So I get this pick because I like him, but that's my thinking as to why maybe his draft stock has dropped a little bit. But if you're happy, we'll choose him for San Fran at number 3 overall.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I would agree too that I think his stock dropping so much and him going third behind Zach Wilson is just kind of directly related to people thinking that Ohio State quarterbacks can't succeed in the NFL. I think that's really like what the narrative is right now with him. I mean, hey, the draft hasn't even happened yet. We could see Justin Fields go number 2. I wouldn't be shocked at all, because I mean, people were talking about Justin Fields not even a couple months ago going number 1. You know, like the guy is very talented. I think he's just kind of getting rode off because of the Ohio State monkey on the back.
Yeah. Okay, number 4 overall. Obviously, these picks are currently trades can still happen. They can still happen on the night, so things can change very quickly. The Falcons, the Draft Network, are saying that their main team need is an edge rush and a tight end. I mean, are we getting out of the quarterbacks here? Who are the Falcons taking? Are they taking one of the players that the Colts hopefully want to get?
The Falcons, who I think they're going to take, I think this is where Kyle Pitts goes. Just my opinion. Kyle Pitts had a incredible pro day. I mean, incredible. He is one of the fastest, strongest, highest leaping. I mean, anything you want in a tight end prospect, he's that. According to some people, he's the best tight end prospect we've ever seen. You know, I tend to agree with that. I mean, Darren Waller, he's like Darren Waller 2.0. Mm-hmm. Like Darren Waller to me is the 3rd best tight end in the league right now, and Kyle Pitts is coming in pretty much at his skill level already. You know, in 3 years, Kyle Pitts could be the most dangerous weapon in the NFL.
Okay, Kyle Pitts. I mean, if you had to compare him to someone in the league right now, who would you compare him to?
Yeah, definitely Darren Waller.
Definitely Darren Waller.
Tight end for the Raiders, I believe.
Yeah. Who was picked? When was Darren Waller picked? Because he's a rookie still, Darren Waller.
No, he's a couple years in the league now.
Couple years. Okay, so I mean, I don't know too much about Kyle Pitts, but I have heard good things about him. And the real question would be is it's that old fable, do you take a tight end this high? I mean, we took Quentin Nelson at 6 and everybody questioned why are you taking a guard at number 6 overall, and it worked out for us. So did they take a tight end of this high, or do you think that's a definite, or do you think we could see a possible a shift to maybe a defensive player, an edge rusher, or you just type in all the edge players fall to the Colts?
Well, it just depends. See, if they don't take Darren Waller, I feel like they move down. I don't think they're going to take, because their offensive line is kind of set up. They have a lot of good depth, young depth. They have a lot of good young players on their offensive line. So I don't think this is where Penei Sewell would go. I personally think he probably end up going to go next pick, but Kyle Pitts right here, it just makes a lot of sense. Like Kyle Pitts absolutely dominated college football. I mean, truly dominated college football. And in the league nowadays, like you see how Travis Kelce's used an Andy Reid system. He's not really like a tight end. He's more of a receiver. They get him in a lot of space, a lot of one-on-ones with smaller guys. And I think that's what they'll do with Kyle Pitts here, putting him beside Julio and Calvin Ridley. That's going to be a 3-headed monster down there in Atlanta, and that's going to be incredibly difficult to guard for any defensive coordinator.
Cool. I'm happy then. Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida, going at number 4 overall to the Falcons. Now, this is an interesting one. The Bengals, they do need a wide receiver. but they also need to protect their franchise quarterback who's coming back off a massive injury, and Joey Burrow. Do they take a receiver or do they take an offensive lineman?
I don't know if this is biasy or towards offensive line, because I love quality offensive linemen. I feel like they're kind of difficult to come by in the NFL. And saying that, Jamar Chase is a beast. He's super talented, super quick, 4.35 40-yard dash separator, can go up and get a ball in traffic. He can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But Penei Sewell is undoubtedly a franchise left tackle. He is one of the best tackle prospects we've seen in the last 10 years, maybe even 20. Quick on his feet, moves super well. He is the prototypical left tackle, meaning like for the new NFL with all these screens, slip screens, all these wide receiver screens, he can move. He runs a 5.1, 5 flat. Like he can get out there. Yeah, I mean, he's a fast guy. He can get out there in space, make blocks. And also, I mean, he has some of the best tape I've ever seen from a tackle. And I think a lot of people are underestimating that, because a lot of people want to go back and nitpick certain things he does. Yeah. Say, oh, he's not as developed as a tackle prospect as you've seen, blah, blah, blah. It's just his physical gifts. That's not true. Penei Sewell is a absolute technician. He is very, 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 very sound in his technique.
Yeah.
And to top it off, again, just an absolute stud athletically. So I think, I think the Bengals will go the safe route here. I think this is where Penei Sewell will go if he's available. Talking about it, if the Falcons wanted to take Penei Sewell and then leave Kyle Pitts on the board, I would bet every dollar I have Kyle Pitts will be a Bengal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's between Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. I'll let you make that decision. But because Jamar Chase is good, man. Honestly, it would be a really difficult pick for me if I was the GM for the Bengals. I would look at that and be like, on one hand, Jamar Chase played with Joe Burrow. They have really good chemistry. On the other, Joe Burrow took like way more hits than he should have. He had no offensive line last year. How do we find that medium? It's a hard decision. It really is.
I'm going to say something. I think the Bengals are in a fantastic position, and that's being one pick above the Miami Dolphins, who obviously traded up to 6. Now that makes me think the Miami Dolphins have got an idea who the Bengals are going for, because you'd think, the Dolphins really need a receiver for Tua. They need an offensive line for Tua, but they've also got a second pick in the first round. So I think the Dolphins are really going to want to take an offensive tackle, especially, like you say, a guy of... No, sorry, I really think the Dolphins are going to take Jamar Chase, or they want to take Jamar Chase. But I think this is where it could come in on the night. I think there could be a trade on the night, and I think the Bengals are going to... If they want to win this, they have to play mind games here. And they have to try and do the Dolphins out of that. They have to try and make the Dolphins want to move up.
So they're both in that same scenario. They both need a receiver, both need offensive line. So honestly, there's no losing here for either teams. Like if one takes one, the other gets the other pick, and then in the second and third round they can address other needs. It's just who will be better overall long term. Who will have more of an impact for your team overall long term.
I think I'm going. The Bengals are going to take Penei Sewell or Sewell. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. So
I'm going with that, and I think we've seen what Quentin Nelson has done for the stock of offensive linemen, and Braden Smith, people like that, have really skyrocketed the value of these offensive line guys. That's why I think he's going there. And they really need, if they have any interest in being a franchise that wins the Super Bowl, the Bengals, they have to protect Joey Burrow at all costs. Otherwise, it's just going to go down. take it from a Colts fan, right? We've seen it with Andrew Luck.
Yeah, that's the big. That's another big reason why I really wanted Penei Sewell to go.
Yeah,
I understand. Like we're rivals, they're AFC teams, but I like football a lot, and I hate seeing quarterbacks get hurt and get forced out of leagues. So
yeah, you don't want to see that happen to anyone, really, do you?
No.
Okay, so that leaves the Dolphins at 6. They obviously traded up in that blockbuster draft, in that blockbuster trade. Their team needs, they're saying, I'll go through the top 3: wide receiver, edge, and running back. Like you said, we got Jamar Chase on the board at 5. And really from there, is there anyone out of Jamar Chase you take in this position? I don't think so.
No, I would agree. I really liked Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. He was a really good player. In all honesty, I think he is wide receiver number 1 in this class, believe it or not. But the injury, you get injured like that, you got to be safe. You got to err on the safe side, and Jamar Chase is that guy. So I would agree him going at 6.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. Let's go. Okay, so just a quick recap. 5, the Bengals, number 5 overall, the Bengals have chosen Penei Sewell, offensive tackle. I probably murdered his name, from Oregon. And the Dolphins at number 6 overall have gone Jamar Chase, wide receiver from LSU. Okay, pick number 7, Detroit Lions. Big Dan Campbell's going to want to build his team. He's got his quarterback that he believes in Goff, apparently. I don't understand that, but that's his choice. Team needs wide receiver, cornerback, offensive tackle. Still 2 highly rated quarterbacks on the board. Or do you see this as a bit more predictable pick? Maybe try and get a weapon in Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, this pick right here is really dependent upon what the Lions do. Excuse me, the rest of the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lions, they got Goff. If they're going to ride with Goff, they're going to keep him on the roster. If they're not going to use him, he's probably going to get traded because he is a starting caliber quarterback. He's just an average. No, he's like a 15 to 20 guy. He's not a top 15, not a top 10 guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if they trade Goff, probably going to take a quarterback here. I wouldn't be surprised if this is where NDSU's very own went. I wouldn't take Mac Jones anywhere near the top. I wouldn't take Mac Jones the first round. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mac Jones, his play style just does not seem like it's going to translate to the NFL, and a lot of people would tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
Again, where the hype came from for this guy, I have no clue. This dude was not even it was like a 3rd round projection like a month ago. Now he's QB3 apparently. Yeah, I just don't. I can't with all the semantics, man. But yeah, here, if I'm the Lions, from what I saw from them last year, they just lost Kenny G. They need a receiver. They need a guy that can get vertical, that can do that. And Jalen Waddle's probably that guy.
Yeah.
Or is Devontae Smith still on the board?
Yeah, Devontae Smith on the board.
Oh, yeah. Devontae Smith is that guy. Let me rephrase that. Devontae Smith is that guy.
Okay. What made you change your mind there?
I think it's just injury. Again, I really like Jalen Waddle, but he's coming off an ankle break. Sometimes that can really hamper somebody's career. I think you just want to err on the safe side if you're the Lions picking in the top 10.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue too much with that. Jared Goff, if he wants any chance, he needs some weapons. So, Devontae Smith, we're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's getting drafted. Okay, number 7 overall was Devontae Smith, wide receiver from Alabama, going to Detroit and trying to make Jared Goff a bit more interesting. Okay, big team, Carolina Panthers, at number 8 overall. They need offensive tackles, they need cornerbacks, they need tight ends. They have just traded for Sam Darnold. I mean, this is where we could see some value players that the Colts need going, because I can only see the Panthers going for an offensive tackle here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Panthers have a few needs.
Yeah.
Corner kind of being one of them. I feel like their secondary wasn't great last year. It's not bad, but it's not great. They got guys like Jeremy Chin back there who's talented. Their edge is pretty set. They got Gross Matos. They got Brian Burns. They drafted Derek Brown, the top 10 last year. He had a pretty slow start. He got better though at the end of the year. He lost a little weight. He's a good player.
Yeah.
For me, what I watched from the Panthers last year, something I noticed about them in their linebacking core, they didn't have a lot of players. They didn't have anyone in the linebacker core that just popped out to me on film.
Okay.
Micah Parsons could be in play here. That's one of the things I was thinking for them.
Yeah.
Their secondary is not bad, but they don't have a guy that definitively stands out at the corner position. That could be where Patrick Surtain goes here. Maybe J.C. Horn, somebody like that. Again, I think they lost Taylor Moton, however you say his name, to the to free agency. So hey, this could be where he goes. So or this could be a tackle, like you said. So I think there's multiple ways they could go about this. I don't see them getting a receiver. I mean, they got Curtis Samuel. They got a few people there. They got CMC. They got enough offensive weapons. They have more pressing needs at other positions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me personally, I think this is another offensive tackle selection. I don't really have a favourite. So if you would have one that you would think would go this high.
Okay. I mean,
do you want me to tell you who's available?
Christian Darrisaw, he should be tight or tackle too, right? Who do they have up there? Slater and Darrisaw? Is that the number 1 and 2?
You got Slater 1, Darrisaw 2, Jenkins 3, Cosme 4, and Eichenberg 5 for offensive tackles.
It's pretty good. I'd rearrange some of them, but that's the top 5 pretty much. Well, other than Eichenberg, he should drop 6. 5 should be redundant, but I would take in this situation. I'm taking Darrisaw. Slater's kind of small. He's like 6 foot. He's like 6'3", 6'2".
Yeah.
The Patriots kind of prove this wrong every year that you don't need a very tall tackle, but again, some of these bigger, taller edge rushers, a guy like Myles Garrett, a guy like J.J. Watt, who's 6'6", 6'7", very long wingspan. Guys like Julius Peppers, they used to dominate. When you're 6'2", 6'3", and you can't get your hands on a guy because his arm length is just so much longer than yours, what do you do? So in my opinion, I would much rather have a Darrisaw than I would a Slater. That's just a height difference thing. That's just a preference of player. Skill-wise, kind of like with Ballard. Ballard only drafts defensive ends that have really long arms and really, really fast and explosive.
Yeah.
Same thing with corners. He won't draft a corner most of the time unless they're either really physical or they got really long arms and they're about 5'11" or 6 foot tall. So that's just me. That's preference. I'd rather have Darrisaw, but you could kind of interchange the two. Slater would be good enough too as well.
I mean, I'm quite happy to go with Darrisaw. You give valuable reasoning there. So if you're happy, I'll draft Kristen Darrisaw for the Panthers.
Gotcha.
That was the number 8 overall pick. On to 9 and the Broncos. Team needs, according to this, quarterback, linebacker, offensive tackle. What's going on in the Mile High City? Where are they going? They're a team that likes to believe the quarterback hype. Could they draft Matt Jones and fall for a trap?
I hope not. I don't think they are. If Mac Jones goes in the top 10, that's an absolute travesty. That's just my opinion, though. And it's no hate to Jones or anything, but it's just there's guys that have obviously been better players, that have not been in this scenario you've been in to succeed like you've been, like you have at least. Um, I just think right here, I love Drew Lock. I absolutely love Drew Lock as a player,
Mhm.
or as a person at least. But this year, his play, he got injured, he came back, he just didn't. He didn't show me what I wanted to see. I had like really high hopes for the Broncos this year, and it just didn't happen. They didn't come through for me. So I think right here the quarterback's going to go. I'm taking Trey Lance. That's me personally.
Yeah.
Um, that's just how I would go about it. But if they take Mac Jones again, I'll be surprised. But I wouldn't hold my breath on Mac Jones being in the top 10.
I mean, yeah, I can see Trey Lance going here. Sometimes it just doesn't work out for a quarterback, and that's what seems to have happened with Drew Lock. But yeah, let's get Trey Lance drafted because I'm like you. I don't believe this Mac Jones hype. I believe I could probably throw similar balls to Mac Jones, and I can barely throw it 20 yards.
Yeah, there was a clip of Mac Jones throwing on his pro day. Belichick is there, so Belichick was coming to look at him.
Yeah, and
And he misses the ball like 5 yards, and Belichick's just over there shaking his head the whole time. And it like pans to Belichick right when he starts shaking his head and looks pissed.
yeah,
It's like the worst timing ever. Worst timing.
that's not good for Mac Jones. But okay, yeah, Trey Lance, the number 9th overall, and the fourth quarterback to go, or the third? The fourth quarterback to
Fourth.
go in the top 10. Wow. Okay, 10, Dallas Cowboys. They need to address quite a bit, I think.
A lot.
um, where are they going here? Because they could go anyway, really, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could use corner. I don't think they already addressed safety. I think Malik Hooker's he hasn't picked on what he's doing, but they've offered him a contract over there.
Yeah.
Um, so they already got the guy that came from huge hitter from Atlanta. What is his name? Strong safety. I'm gonna have to look this up or kill me.
Yeah.
But they've already addressed both safety needs. I feel like Malik Hooker is going to sign there though. So they don't need safeties. Cornerback is a big need for them. Their cornerback play was absolutely horrendous. Their edge play last year, Demarcus Lawrence was really good. At Alden Smith in there, he was serviceable. They had a lot of good edge play.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be. I don't think they're going to take that interior defensive line. They need that, but there's no one here to fit that need right now. There's no stud interior defensive lineman in this draft. So linebacker core, they got Van Esch, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Guy they used to say was leaps and bounds better than Darius Leonard, horseshit. But he's serviceable. So I think their linebacker core is good. I think here, this is where Patrick Surtain's going. If the list goes like this, Patrick Surtain is gone if he's available at number 10 for them.
Yeah. He is available. I watched a bit of this guy. Obviously, when I thought Colts would not re-sign Xzavier Rhodes, so I watched a bit of him just to see who he was, and I think the Cowboys would be a fool, really, not to take him.
Oh yeah,
Especially if he falls to him at 10.
yeah, stud,
Yeah.
absolute stud player.
Yeah. So yeah, Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback out of Alabama to the Cowboys. Okay, number 11, New York Giants. They need an edge. They need a tight end. They probably need a linebacker. They probably need a wide receiver. They need quite a bit.
Yeah. So
yeah, go on.
when I think of New York, their biggest issues, they just re-signed a very good player on the defensive line, Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams had an absolute breakout year this year. He's really good, 300 pounds, 6'4", 6'5" guy. Can do it all. I mean, he gets after the quarterback pretty well, but he stuffs the run at an incredible rate. Like he's a really, really talented player.
Yep.
He demanded a lot of money. He got paid. I mean, he got like $22 million, which is more than Aaron Donald. He got paid more than anyone, but in my opinion, he's not that level, but he's very close. But he's young. They're banking
Mm-hmm.
on him progressing more. But that being said, their biggest issues last year, they had Kyler Fackrell as edge rusher 1. Kyler Fackrell's not an edge rusher 1. He's not an edge rusher 2 or 3. That guy's a bench player.
Yeah.
So they need somebody that's going to get off the edge. They need somebody that's going to be a beast. And in my opinion, guy that fits that system perfectly. Kwity Paye. He's a beast. Absolute fantastic pro day. Ran a 4.5. Incredibly physical player. Does a lot of things correctly. I think when you think of a guy that's going to come out of the draft at the edge position and make an immediate impact and have a successful career in the NFL, Kwity Paye is that guy. He's that safest guarantee at that position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say Kwity Paye because I hope he falls to the Colts. But a quick, this is the Draft Network's predictive board. This is the edge ratings. They got Jalen Phillips 1, Azeez Ojulari at 2, and Kwity Paye at 3. Would you agree with that, or would you say Kwity Paye is out and out the number 1 edge?
I think that's the reason. I'm sorry. I think the reason it's like that is because of the pro days.
Yeah.
And Jalen Phillips had a really good pro day. Kwity Paye had a really good pro day as well. So I don't know why they're freaking out too much. But Kwity Paye I've done a bunch of these videos. Kwity Paye for the last 3 months has been number 1. Then I guess in the last 2 weeks or so, they put them up there. So Kwity Paye is number 1 for me. I think it's a no-brainer that Kwity Paye will probably. And another thing is, again, Kwity Paye matches their system. Jalen Phillips or Azeez, they're both like 4-3 defensive ends. They're not that edge rusher guy that can kind of play in between. Kwity Paye would be a better fit in New York.
Yeah. Okay. Reluctantly, then I'm going to draft Kwity Paye here to the New York Giants at number 11 overall. Excellent. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles in at 12. Big Nick Sirianni. This is his big moment. Is he going to be a Frank Reich clone here? I mean, obviously he doesn't make the overall decision, but is he a Frank Reich clone here, or is he going his own way? Does he like the look of Matt Jones? Maybe. I know you said not top 10, and I know you're not big on Matt Jones, but they're going to need to bring somebody in, or are they getting a weapon in? And Jalen Waddle's still there. I could go through the team needs, but it's pretty much everything. So,
yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah, when I think of the Eagles, I think they got a dominant interior defensive lineman. They got Graham on the outside, so they got a good interior and then exterior defensive line duo. So their edge rusher, defensive line, that's solid. Linebacker core could use some help. Secondary could use some help. Safeties aren't horrible, but they definitely could, there could be somebody there. But the safeties in this draft I don't think there's going to be one that'll go first round, in all honesty. Offensive line, studded. Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey. They don't need nobody there. They have one of the best in the league. It's just injuries kind of hurt them this season. That department. That's why Carson Wentz was getting sacked so much, is because they had so many injuries. The only other team I think that had more offensive line rotation or more offensive line starting lineups or different like rotations of players because of injuries were the Cowboys. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe the Eagles were the only team other than the Cowboys that have more rotational of their rotations. So it's one or the other. Both of them had really serious injury problems this year on their offensive line. But right here, I think what you said first is where they're going to go. I think they're going to go Jalen Waddle. They haven't had a good receiver in a long time. When's the last, 5 years at least?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Just reading his bio here, just this little bit of readout that they give you. Dynamic wideout that spent time on the outside in the slot and periodically as a chess piece in the backfield. He's a small wideout that's diverse with notches of speed. I mean, I'm not comparing the guy, but if you was to prototype him, he sounds a bit like a T.Y. Hilton player.
Oh yeah, I mean, almost identical to T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah,
Their game style is pretty similar.
yeah. And from reading that, I can't argue against not drafting him. So, you know, they need weapons. Nick needs weapons for his offensive playbook. And they need someone who can get into that secondary level. Like you said, they haven't had a decent receiver in the past 3 to 5 years. So, Jalen Waddle, go and enjoy your life in Philadelphia.
Look,
Okay. The Chargers at 13th overall. They need an offensive tackle. They need edge, safety, cornerback. They need to really, because Herbert, I think he's good. So for me, they either need protection for Herbert on the offensive side, or they need to get him help on the defensive side.
yeah, I would agree. I think the Chargers have been without Derwin James, who is probably the best safety in the league for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 years. Injuries have really dampened his career, but if he's back this year, he is a top 3 safety. In my opinion, he's better than Jamal Adams. I know a lot of people like Jamal Adams, but
Mm-hmm.
Derwin James is an incredible talent. So I think their biggest needs would be offensive line as it currently sits. I think the last 2 years, I mean, you remember what happened to Philip Rivers. I mean, Philip Rivers had like the 31st ranked offensive line. Justin Herbert didn't have it any better, but he runs like a 4.7, so he could kind of get out of the pocket. Rivers, on the other hand, like 5.5 area, he's not moving very well. So I think right here, offensive line goes. I think this is where a tackle goes.
Yeah.
I think Slater's still available, so I think this is exactly where Slater should go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely need to protect, especially a prospect like Herbert, who is a fantastic quarterback. I'd agree with that. Let's get him drafted. Rashawn Slater to the Chargers. Okay. Minnesota are up at 14 overall. I don't personally know much about Minnesota and what they need other than probably a new team, a new GM, and probably a new franchise. So, I mean, they're sort of okay at the running back room. So, running back's probably not going here. They need secondary help and they probably need a weapon.
Yeah. It's edge rusher wise, they have Daniil Hunter. He's a beast.
Yeah.
An absolute stud. They picked up Dexter Lawrence in the free agency, who is a really good one tech come from New York. So I think they're good there. I think defensive line needs are pretty solid. They got Anthony Barr. They got Kendricks. I think linebacker core, probably the best linebacker core in the league. Solid there. But like you said, their biggest issues this year was definitely their secondary. Horrendous. Horrendous. And then their interior defensive line was bad, but they got a few pickups in the free agency. Really helped with that. They got Justin Jefferson. They got Adam Thielen. They got Dalvin Cook. I think offensive weapons are good.
Yeah.
I don't, they had Riley Reef and who else do they have? Garrett Bradbury at center, left tackle. They had someone else that was really good. Who was it? I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But their offensive line's really solid. So I think, whoever, possibly J.C. Horn here. I think that would probably be the best pickup for corner. What's the corners listing right now?
Corners listing. Yeah. J.C. Horn's top, Greg Newsom the second, Caleb Farley, Eric Strokes, and Kelvin Joseph.
It's pretty good. I'd move Farley up above. What's his name there? But that's pretty good. I think this is where J.C. Horn's probably going to go.
Yeah, I think I've watched it again because it's cornerbacks, and I was looking at these. I think J.C. Horn is. I wouldn't say he's a standout player to say, but I'd say he's a stud in the making. He has a lot of potential to be the next guy at the cornerback position. And
absolutely, I agree.
yeah, so Yeah, JC Horn, get yourself over to Minnesota, get yourself some warm clothes because it will be freezing up there. Okay, a pick that is probably one of the more interesting of the nights because the Patriots have done all their bidding and free agency, haven't they? So, I mean, we was talking about Mac Jones, and like we said, Bill Belichick was not impressed. And even if you overthrow a receiver, it probably takes a lot for Bill Belichick to show his emotion like that. Because I've seen Bill Belichick in previous pro day videos actually going coaching guys. You know, when he's watching them and they messed up, he's gone up to him and said, "No, do this instead." So for Bill Belichick to actually just stand there and shake his head, not looking good for Matt Jones, even though the Patriots do need a quarterback.
Yeah. The Patriots are in a pretty bad spot. If they want a quarterback in this class, they got to move up because there is 4 guys that I think are very good. And they're already off the board. So if the Patriots want a quarterback, I think they're going to move up. They re-signed Cam Newton to another 1-year deal. To me, that felt like they were definitely going to sign a quarterback at this point. But the way it's looking now, I don't think they're going to have that opportunity unless they draft up. So at this point, I guess they're going to look to attack other needs.
Yeah.
As it currently sits, the Patriots had like one of the worst front sevens in the league last year. Jamie Collins left, who was an incredible interior linebacker. This could be where we see Micah Parsons go because Jamie Collins went to the Lions last year, so he's a Lions now, Lions player. But,
yeah, Micah Parsons. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. If he's still there, obviously, I can't argue with him taking him here. I think that would be a perfectly valued pick, to put it. Great player. So with the current draft, with the draft class, I wouldn't. This is the most expected pick, I'd say.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is an incredible linebacker. Very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Again, this is currently as it sits. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots move up. That's me. I think the Patriots, them first 3 teams are going to take that. But I mean, in my opinion, I think quarterback from NDSU. I can never remember this guy's name. I don't know why I can't do it. I've literally watched film on him 50 times and heard his name 1,000 times. I just can't. I can't think of his name. What is his name?
Cornerback from LSU.
No, quarterback. Quarterback from NDSU. We drafted him to the number 9. What's his name? We just drafted him number 9.
We drafted him at number 9. Yeah. Trey Lance. No.
Trey Lance. That's
Trey Lance. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised if they moved up to number 8. If they tried to trade up to Carolina, because Carolina just got their quarterback. They don't necessarily need who they picked. They lost Taylor Moton, but their offensive line as a unit is pretty solid. If they moved up and got that pick, I wouldn't be surprised. But as it sits right here, they're not getting much value with this pick. It's just middle of the pack. It is what it is. They just lost Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney signed with
the Chiefs.
Yep, the Chiefs. And he is an incredible talent at guard. I wouldn't call him a top 5 guard, but he is top 10, that's for sure. He got paid. He got a really good paycheck. It's just at this pick, again, they got a lot of needs. They don't need a corner. They got one of the best corner rooms in the league. Their defensive line wasn't that good this year. They re-signed Lawrence Guy. He's a good player. Pretty much the only guy that stood out, compared to everyone there. But again, their biggest woes were definitely in their linebacker core. And again, Micah Parsons is an incredible talent. I feel like the Patriots would be really hard pressed to pass up on him.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, Mike Parsons to Bill Belichick and the Pats. Okay, the Cardinals at 16 overall. Again, this is getting into the point where it's no man's land. Teams in this, I'd say, from 15 to 32 or 16 to 32. Any of these teams could trade backwards, could trade upwards, could just do completely something different. I don't really know much about the Cardinals. They don't really need weapons. They don't really need linemen. Murray's a scrambler, so maybe a secondary help here.
Yeah, Patrick Peterson just hit the open market. He's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Was a good player this year. It's going to be a tough loss for him. So I think this could be where we see a cornerback go right here. Caleb Farley, beast, huge guy too, 6'2", 210 pounds.
Yeah.
Big. I think so. He's 6'1" or 6'2", right?
Yeah, 6'2", just under 200 pounds.
Okay, so he might beef up a little bit. I thought he was a bit bigger weight wise, but still 6'2", big frame. He does a lot of things well. He'll fit in just nicely in that zone scheme they got over there. That zone blitz scheme. I think he'd be a great fit with the Cardinals.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm happy to draft that. Let's draft him. Caleb Farley, 16 overall to the Cardinals. Okay, the Raiders. Bit of an interesting one. Again, a team that could do anything. So they probably need a lineman. They probably need a linebacker. They probably need secondary help. See anything in particular for the Raiders?
Yeah, they need a lot. They need a lot.
Yeah.
It's so weird because the Raiders just dismantled their offensive line. Raiders probably had a top 5 offensive line last year. Poof, gone. They kept Richie Incognito. No, big question mark as to why they kept him over Rodney Hudson, who's been one of the most consistent centers in the league for years.
Yeah.
I mean, not even 2 years ago was the best center in the league. They got rid of their right tackle, sent him back over to the Patriots and Trent Brown. So Trent Brown went from the Patriots to the Raiders, back to the Patriots. So that as it currently sits, they need a right tackle, a right guard, or no, they need a right tackle and a center badly. And so, I mean, right here we could see the next tackle go. I kind of like Samuel Cosme more than I like. But who'd you say was on that draft board above him?
Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin Jenkins. Yeah, a lot of people fell in love with Tevin Jenkins because he's a physical player. He's a really physical player, but in my opinion, well, they need a right tackle. So yeah, actually, I'll take that back. Tevin Jenkins would go here. Tevin Jenkins, they already have their left tackle sorted out. They need a right tackle, and I think Tevin Jenkins would be a good fit. Trent Brown was a right tackle.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's no argument there from me. Physical player at right tackle. We know how valuable that can be. Looking at Braden Smith, who's absolutely come into a class of his own this year. So yeah, Tevin Jenkins to the Raiders. Okay, the Dolphins with their second first-round pick. Now this could be an interesting one because for them. This could be ammo to move up. This could be ammo to move back. Because there's a lot of teams in this area now, including the Colts. The Titans are one behind us. They might want to move up to play a bit of mind games. Washington are probably going to draft. I'd say a tackle. There could be a lot of moving about here.
Yeah, I would agree. This pick right here in particular is really, really hard to gauge because you don't really know where they're going to go with it. like you said, if their guys on the board, if Tevin Jenkins is who they had their eye on, and he just went off the board at 17, they could just move back. Because a lot of people don't think too highly of Samuel Cosme. Me personally, I do. I think Cosme is a really good player. I think he's really efficient. I think he gets the job done on a consistent basis. I think he moves people in the run game. I think he could be a franchise left tackle any day of the week. So I guess for me, looking at what this team needs, they got their receiver earlier.
Yeah.
They just need to protect Tua now. Tua's coming off that hip injury. They need to have someone there, or they need to get some people in there to protect him because last year they did not do a very good job of that.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I just missed the last bit. It just didn't come through. So you were saying?
Oh, yeah, I said I would prefer Samuel Cosme.
Something caused me. Okay, yeah. It just didn't come through. Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, like we said, the other tackle. Do you think? Okay, just a quick one. Do you think if the Raiders take Cosme, the Dolphins then take Tevin Jenkins?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Dolphins often are in much worse shape of the offensive line than the Raiders are.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, the Raiders do need a defensive end. They need edge players, but like literally, they went from being one of the best offensive lines of the league to just being the worst. And honestly, their offense was kind of dependent upon having that elite offensive line to succeed. So I think that they will kind of be panicking there. I think they will take a Tevin Jenkins. Look for that Mahler run blocker to replace Trent Brown, who left, because that's exactly what he was. He was a big physical mauling run blocker.
Okay. Yeah, I have no protest about Samuel Cosme going here to the Dolphins. Cool. Pick 19. Washington. Obviously, they did themselves no favors getting into the playoffs. I mean, Washington need a lot, right?
Yeah, kind of. They franchise tag Brandon Scherf, so that's a good thing. They got Schweitzer. I think that's how you say his name at left guard. He's a beast. Like, really, he's actually very talented. He
Yeah.
kind of flew under the radar, but he had a one breakout game last year that I did a film analysis on, and the guy could just move from first level to second level really, really well. So
Yeah.
I think their center, left guard, right guard duo is good. They need a tackle, I'll say that much, but not horribly. They're not in like desperate need of tackle because, uh, their quarterback wasn't pressured all too much last year. I think they were just fine there.
Yeah.
I think their biggest need is, they got Terry McLaurin, but they don't have anyone else. They need another receiver. They need a guy that can get vertical, that can, stretch that. Or, well, Terry McLaurin can stretch field. They need another guy that's, kind of a route technician, a guy that can get open underneath and make plays. But so who do they have a receiver right now? Like, what was the list?
Your top 5 at receiver at the minute is Rashad Bateman, Therese Marshall Jr., Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, and Rondell Moore.
Yeah, I think this is where Bateman goes. Got to be Bateman. Bateman is a stud. He is very slept on too.
Yeah, 6'1", 210.
Yeah.
Good route runner and ball skills. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. They need a threat. They need someone for the quarterback to hit. So yeah, okay. Chicago in at 20. Chicago a bit of a mess. Sort of. Interestingly, is this where we could see Matt Jones finally going, or do you still think this guy's falling all the way?
I mean, just because I don't like the Bears, I hope so. But yeah, I mean, truly, I mean, they have him up there, but I haven't seen a team come out and express like any kind of hope for him. Like I haven't seen any like there's been no insiders come out chirp talking about Mac Jones or this team or that team.
Yeah.
It's just people blowing it up. It's just big, like media outlets blowing it up. Really, I haven't seen anybody that's has any merit talking about it.
Yeah.
Or merit in my eyes, at least, I guess. But yeah, the Bears are they're an interesting team. They got a defense, really good defense.
Mhm.
They just released one of their best corners, but they have two other guys that are very talented as well. I don't think their secondary is going to have any issues. Of course, they got Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Mack Attack from Silver and Black, absolute beast. Um, this is just a pick that they could go multiple directions. I don't think they're going to take a receiver here. I think they'd have to reach a little too far. But I do think this is where alignment goes because their offensive line was 31st last year.
Okay.
Yeah, horrendous. They couldn't run block, they couldn't pass block, they couldn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And so as it currently sits, who are the guard prospects right now? I know Trey Smith is going to be up there.
They got okay, it has them all fingered together as an offensive tackle group rather than guards.
Okay.
But I'll let you know what offensive tackles they've got. They've got Eichenberg, Dylan Redunners, Alex Leatherwood, Jalen Mayfield, Brady Christensen.
Well, them are all tackles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they should have Trey Smith. They should have Creed Humphrey. They should have guys like that. They should have Elijah Vera Tucker. Wherever there should be a G. It should say G. Does not have it on there?
No, it doesn't have it on here. I'll just go down through.
Yeah. Look for Elijah Vera Tucker.
All right. For some reason, the tab isn't on there. Yeah, I found Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean,
the USC, right?
Yeah, they've got him as inside offensive lineman, but the tab isn't actually on the position thing, so I can't tell you. But I have found Tucker.
Okay, yeah. Tucker's a really good player. He can play kind of in and out as well.
Yeah.
Like he could play tackle if you need him to. I think his skill set is better for the interior of the offensive line, but he could do either or. So I think that would be a really good pick for the Bears because they kind of need, either or. I think he's a versatile player, and I think he'd be a great fit there.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears definitely need some help on that line. 6'4", 300 pounds, big guy. For a guard as well, that's big. So, yeah, I mean, let's draft him there because I can't argue with that. I don't know much about him personally, but yeah, okay. The interesting one, the Indianapolis Colts at 21. Now, this is where all the Colts fans will want to see. It's a big question, isn't it? Offensive tackle or edge rush or cornerback?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Definitely a tough one. I'll let you take the lead on this one, man. You know what we need.
Yeah, I mean, personally, okay, the edge prospects that are still there: Jalen Phillips, Aziz Ojari, Jason Owehe, Troy Tryon, Ronnie Perkins. I mean, I only really know about Aziz and Jalen. The tackle, which is obviously a big position that needs addressing, Eichenberg, Redundez, Leatherwood. I think we have to take edge.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah. I think if we had to choose out of Jalen and Aziz, it's a tough one. 6'3", 240. 2 or 3 point. It's a tough one, but I think if I'm thinking as Chris Ballard as I possibly can, he probably takes Aziz Ojari here.
Yeah, I mean, I could see either or.
Yeah.
The way I've been made out because I've seen very little film on either of them. I've seen more film on Phillips than I have Aziz. But the way I've seen it, people really like Phillips because of his combine. Like he went to the combine, ball out, ran a 4.51 40-yard dash.
Mhm.
He's huge too. Like this guy's fast. He's really fast, really big. He fits that 4-3 defensive end prototype.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with Aziz, which, he could prove me wrong in the NFL. He could come in and prove me wrong completely. He doesn't seem like that 4-3 defensive end. He seems like that 3-4 roll down outside linebacker kind of hybrid type guy.
Yeah.
I like his name. I mean, the dude's name is cool, but for what our scheme needs, I think Jalen Phillips would be a little bit better. But yeah, like you said, either or, honestly, I think both of them can convert, but I would prefer Phillips.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a flip of the coin, really. Just to play devil's advocate a bit, I'm going to take Aziz Ajari here. Just to spice it up, because there's something about him that just screams Chris Ballard to me when I read about him, what I've seen about him. And that's the only reason. That's the only reason, really. Yeah. So yeah, I'll draft Aziz here.
Same size as Dwight Freeney, same build.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's anything like him, then I'll be glad to have him. Okay, the Titans running back.
Yeah, they need Najee. They can back up Dick.
Yeah.
Be the Alabama brothers down there. But yeah, the Titans, they got a lot of places to go. They just released Adoree Jackson. That's a huge hit. I mean, Adoree Jackson is any day of the week top 15, top 10 corner when he's healthy. He was just injured this year, so that's a huge blow for them. They got Justin Simmons. They got a pretty good rotation of defensive linemen down there. Losing Clowney, they need an edge rusher. I mean, there's a lot of ways they could go, honestly. I mean, there's a huge, just massive ways. And they drafted tackle first round last year. You've seen how that's panned out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not even on the team anymore. So as it sits right now, they either need offensive line, need a right tackle, or they need an edge rusher.
I mean, so they're in the same situation as the Colts, really.
Yeah. I mean, literally identical, honestly. Well, they have more pieces they need. There's other positions they definitely need. Like they just lost Corey Davis as well. But them are like the two glaring issues they really need to, kind of take care of.
Yeah. I mean, I could, like you said, the tackle thing didn't work out last year for him, so I can maybe see him trying the hand again at tackle to try and make up for that. But it would take. Are they reaching a bit if they take a tackle here? When the way I'd say I've taken Aziz Ajari, but there's still either way, there's still Aziz or Jalen Phillips going to be available. So for me personally, I think they take Jalen Phillips if the Colts don't. So I would say that they're going to draft Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, I'd agree. That's probably who I'd take.
Yeah, cool. Jalen Phillips to Tennessee. Okay, the New York Jets, the New York Jets, back in at pick 23.
Yeah, they need a few people. That's for sure. Their offensive line was better than expected last year, but they still weren't great. Like they could use a guy in the interior there. Yeah. They got an excellent left tackle who I absolutely love. I wish he was our left tackle any day of the week. He's actually my second favorite player behind Quentin Nelson, offensive line wise right now. The sad part is I just can't even remember his name. Tell you his jersey number. I can tell you like damn near every good game he's played. I just can't tell you his name, dude. I'm terrible with names. But he reminds me, the Jets had a really good left tackle for a long time named DeBrickshaw Ferguson. Ever since he's been gone, they haven't had a guy. Now they have their guy, just like DeBrickshaw, who's just humongous. just massive player to anchor down their left tackle spot.
Yeah.
They don't need a left tackle. They don't need a right guard. They had a good right guard come in from Carolina. Was really serviceable this year. Did a little film analysis on him earlier in the season. He's a good player. For me, the glaring issues for the Jets, they need help in their secondary.
Yeah.
Their cornerback one's Pierre Desir. How good can your secondary really be?
Yeah.
So read off the cornerback list again. What's that looking?
Okay, Newsom the second, Strikes, Joseph, Samuel Jr., and Aaron Robinson.
So it's between Newsom and Eric Stokes, right? That's the I'll be honest. I would rather have Eric Stokes. In all honesty, I think Eric Stokes is just. I think he's more proven. I think he's played against better competition. I think Newsom's good, but I think Eric Stokes has had a much harder task.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, like you said, their number one corner is Desir. I mean, I like the guy, but they probably need to improve that position. So I can see a cornerback going, and like you said, the competition, Georgia playing compared to Northwestern is.
Yeah, you're in the SEC. Come on.
Yeah,
it's the SEC.
Yeah. So Eric Stokes to the Jets. Okay. Now here's a team that again could go in any direction. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. This might be the Mac Jones pick, man. This might be it right here. Oh no, they just got Dwayne Haskins in there. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Dwayne Haskins on the Steelers. Yeah, that's interesting. So they lost Charlie Villanueva. I don't know if you know who that is. Not Charlie Villanueva. Alejandro Villanueva. That's his name. Super unique. Yeah. Left tackle. He's a free agent. There's a few people on Twitter saying we should sign him. No, we should not. We should not sign him. He is a free agent for a reason. Let's just say that. If you go watch him play against Carl Lawson, it looks like second-degree manslaughter. It was ugly. But that being said, right here, they need offensive line help. They got David DeCastro at right guard. He's really good. They got Mike Pouncey, who they put in the Pro Bowl. Mike Pouncey's probably not even a top 10 center. He just got voted in because of his name. Pretty much is kind of how it worked. Like, people were just on the Pro Bowl voting side. They're like, who do we know? Mike Pouncey. All right, he's going in. Like I could probably name you 6 or 7 centers right now that are just better than Mike Pouncey.
Yeah.
But that being said, no disrespect to Mike Pouncey. He's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's a great player. Age just got a hold of him.
Yeah.
What they could use right now the most is a tackle. So right now available, who do we got left? We got Dylan Redunds, we got Eichenberg, and we got Leatherwood, right?
Yep.
Well, I'll say this. I love Redunds, and he's one of them guys that can go in or out. He can be a guard or he can be a tackle. A lot of people don't like him for some reason. I'm really not sure why. The film I've seen from him, he looks great. He's physical. On the senior day, the senior pro, if you go watch the offensive line versus defensive line reps on YouTube, he balled out. He looked like a stud. So I'm not really sure what there's not to like about him, but there's one stipulation, and that's Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood had a crazy pro day. He's ranked right now in the top 10 or top 0.5 percentile for tackle prospects when it comes to athletics. Wow. He's one of the most athletic tackles we've ever seen come out. So I think Alex Leatherwood would go here. He doesn't move people in the run game as much as Redunds does, but his technique for pass protection is really good, and he's really athletic. Or his technique's not great, but he's super, super athletic. He's just a little raw. So I think in the NFL, his frame, his size, his explosion, I think that'll translate much better than Dylan Redun's well at the left tackle position, which is what the Steelers need.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Alex Leatherwood is a monster. That's 6'5", 312 pounds. Jesus.
Yeah, huge guy.
Yeah. And yeah, for that, I mean, I can't argue with that. Okay, Jacksonville coming in with another, quite a valuable pick here. They've got the QB in Trevor Lawrence. Do they go and get Trevor protection? Do they get him a weapon?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like they need a weapon in Jacksonville. Who they got? Day Westbrook. They got
Yeah.
because their defense isn't bad. I mean, honestly, like I really don't know who the hell their receiver core is. That's saying something because I feel like I know a lot about pretty much every team's roster. I know they got D Westbrook, and I know they got someone that's better than him as well. Of course, they had one of the best rookie running backs in the league. That was undrafted. He was really good. I think what was his name? Robinson, maybe or no? Cam Robinson's their tackle. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was serviceable. So their running back core, they're good right now. Again, they could probably use a receiver. Their defense wise, though, they got Josh Allen. They got Taven Bryant. A lot of people don't know him. He's a really explosive 3-tech. I have a lot of hope for him in the future.
Yeah.
Defensively. Josh Allen came out of Kentucky a couple years ago. He had a really good rookie season. Got injured this season, but got a lot of hope for him too as well, especially in the Urban Meyer defensive scheme. They got Miles Jack. They got Schobert. They got C.J. Henderson. I think their defense is pretty solid. I do. I think they got a lot of young, talented players. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see if Urban Meyer can get the best out of them, get the most potential out of them guys. So yeah, I think this is where they take. I think this is where they take a receiver because their offensive line. I mean, they got Brandon Lindor. They got Andrew Norwell, 2 Pro Bowl, All-Pro type players at center and left guard. And then they got Cam Robinson at tackle as well. I don't think their offensive line's the issue. I think they need a receiver.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to tell you who's available at receiver?
Yeah, who's on there?
You have Terrace Marshall Jr., Kadarius Toney, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, and Amari Rogers.
Yeah, a lot of people have fell in love with Rondale Moore. I mean, and I kind of have too. He's a small guy, like 5'7", 5'8" size. I'm thinking of it. Is that him? 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah. 5'9", 175.
Yeah, he's a small dude, but he's super, super fast. Like one of the most athletically gifted wide receiver prospects we've seen come out of college in a while.
Yeah.
The only issue is guys like Tony and Marshall, they're just bigger. They're bigger. They are good prospects as well. I think either of those guys there are kind of interchangeable in this situation. I think it's one of the two. It just depends on the scheme fit of who they would want.
Yeah. I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, Marshall's big, isn't he? He's like a really big receiver.
6'3", 200.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Tony is 5'11", 189.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think, they got D Westbrook, who's that speedster, that smaller speedster guy. I mean, I feel like Terrence Marshall would just be a better pick because of scheme fit.
Yeah, I could see Terrence Marshall go in. Like you said, they've already got the speed guy. They need a deep route threat to say that, they need someone who's going to go up and get it. And, when you're 6'3", you'd like to think that he's going to be that guy. So I could see Terrence going in there. Therese? How are you going to say it? Marshall Jr. go in there. Okay. Yeah. A team that's seems pretty soundly built at the minute, and that's the Cleveland Browns at 26.
Yeah. If I wasn't a Colts fan, I'd be a Browns fan. Just kind of how it is. And it's just because there's so much to love about it. They got Wyatt Teller. They got maybe the best offensive line in the league. It's either us or them. That's just how it is right now. With Quentin Nelson on our team, it's hard to put them above us. especially Braden Smith at right tackle. But they got Jack Conklin at right tackle, who is an All-Pro this year. Wyatt Taylor at right guard, who's an absolute stud. He was All-Pro as well. J.C. Treader at center, who is a stud center. Joel Batonio, who's a stud left guard. And then they got Jedrick Willis last year to cap off this great offensive line to get a rookie guy who was very serviceable last year. And I'm thinking it's going to take a big leap this year, second year in the league. So their offensive line is studded. Defensive line, Sheldon Day, Myles Garrett, no introduction. I mean, just absolutely pretty deep at the defensive line as well. I wouldn't say absolutely studded in the 4-3, but they're deep. They're deep, that's for sure. Secondary wise, they got a pretty good secondary, believe it or not. Vallejo, whatever his name is, their safety, he was a travesty. I can't even lie. I mean, just yeah, I don't think I saw him play one good game last year, but he was the only issue, really, the only main issue. I think they got a couple pieces there in the secondary that are good enough to keep them afloat. I think just their biggest issue right now, as it sits, is their linebacker core. Their linebacker core, they didn't have anyone back there that just you looked at and was like, all right, this guy's a good player. They didn't have anybody like that.
Yeah.
And so when I think of next linebacker 2, I don't remember who. I think a guy out of Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken, is probably next in line.
Jeremiah Owusu. I'm going to murder his last name here, so I apologize. Yeah. Jeremiah Owusu Kamara.
Oh, yeah. Where's he out of again?
He's out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's a really big playmaker. Yeah, my fault. I haven't watched film on this guy in probably like 5 months or something. It's been a minute. Who else is on the linebacker board? I don't remember.
You have Jamin Davis, Nick Bolton, Xzavier Collins, and Baron Browning. Yeah.
I would pick, if it was me, I would pick Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah currently at or linebacker 2, and then Xzavier Collins for me would be linebacker 3.
Yeah.
Really confused as to why Xzavier Collins' stock has fell so far, because he was considered like linebacker 3 for a very long time behind Jeremiah and Micah Parsons, but I guess I'll have to read up on that.
Yeah. Yeah. You think? Yeah, they obviously got Anthony Walker, and they offer. So do you think they still go linebacker, even though they've gone and bought in Anthony Walker?
Listen, I love Anthony Walker. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great person. Be that way. So look, I can make a highlight tape of Roger Saffold absolutely destroying him against the Titans every time we play him. Like, if put you this way, if Anthony Walker was as good of a player as he was a person, he would have a $10 million contract with the Colts.
Yeah.
But there's a reason we let him walk, There's a reason that they paid him $2.5 million. We offered more than that. We offered like 2.7.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play. He didn't want to stay here because he wouldn't get playing time here. He'll get more playing time there. But, he's not a fix for their linebacker core. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he is. He is a player that will come in and have, I won't say dominance, but he'll have a lot of success playing against, Lamar Jackson and that conference over there.
Yeah. Yeah. And for that, Jeremiah is going to the Browns. A team now that I think quietly, they're in quite a bit of trouble, and they need quite a bit of help in the draft, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know people probably think I'm mental because, they have Marquise Brown, they have Lamar Jackson, they have their running back out of Ohio State. I can't think of his name right now. I can't remember they got him in last year's draft, but he's also a stud. But I honestly think this is a team that if they don't draft smartly this year, they could be in trouble.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they have a few more needs to take care of than they can in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just lost. I think one of their edge rushers. What is his name? Uh, he wasn't the best edge rusher, but he was quality player and definitely someone worth having.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but that's not their biggest issue though. They got other edge rushers. They'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to pick somebody up. They'll pick up an Alden Smith. They'll pick up somebody to come in and fill his shoes.
Yeah.
I think their biggest issue is offensive line. I think the biggest difference between last year and this year for their offense, last year they had a top 5 offensive line. This year they had a bottom 5,
Mm-hmm.
28th. And you really saw Lamar Jackson struggle behind it. He didn't really horribly struggle. I mean, he's still a generational talent. Like, how many quarterbacks do you see that throw one interception in his first 40 touchdowns in the red zone, run a 4.3? Like you don't see that. That's like astronomical. Like he's one of a kind. Just put it to you. Just to put it lightly, he's one of a kind. Um, it was a big issue for him this year because of how much pressure he felt. He felt so much pressure, game in, game out, especially from the interior. Now on the exterior, they had Orlando Brown. They had a few guys at tackle that could do their job, but the interior was a big issue. So I think right here, I wouldn't be surprised if Creed Humphrey went right here, center out of Oklahoma. They need somebody on the interior that's going to be a stud and carve out some pass for Lamar Jackson to run, and he's the perfect guy.
Creed Humphrey. Yep, found him here.
Where do they have him projected?
44 overall.
Sheesh, man, they are disrespecting Creed. My lord.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you obviously, you know more about these linemen than me, so I can't argue that. And like I said, this is a team that, although there could be superstar names on the board at 27, they need to draft smartly. They need to take the smart choice. They don't need a shirt seller right now. They need a smart choice to protect their franchise quarterback in Lamar.
Yep.
So
again, just to tell you this, Creed Humphrey, they had him projected at 28, not even a month ago. Now he's 44. You know what I'm saying? Like they just literally throw people around. I don't get it. Like I have no clue. Like Creed Humphrey is a round 1 offensive lineman. Like he's the best center in the draft, and they need a center / guard / somebody. And Creed Humphrey could play either, in all honesty. So I think I wouldn't be blown away if he went earlier either. But right here would be the perfect pick for them.
Can't argue with that. Creed Humphrey to the Ravens. Okay, at 28, the Saints need secondary help. Obviously, Michael Thomas didn't perform in the playoffs last year, so maybe a weapon. They need edge. They need a bit of everything, really. But what should Saints fans be looking for this draft?
Yeah. So, think of the Saints. They got a few players. They just lost Hendrickson, who is one of the better edge rushers in the league, but they still got Cam Jordan, so I don't think they're too scared right now. They're not too worried.
Yeah.
They got Marcus Lattimore, good corner. You got Michael Thomas, like you said. I think Michael Thomas is still really good. I think that offense just dealt with a little too many injuries than they're used to dealing with, And they also started, instead of starting Jameis Winston, who's a pocket passing quarterback and fits your system, they started, what do you call it, gadget player quarterback. I forgot his name.
Oh, Taysom Hill?
Oh, yeah, Taysom Hill, that's right, yeah. Yeah, it's fun watching him, but when you're talking about scheme fits, like Taysom Hill is not that guy. Your scheme is built around Drew Brees, pocket passing quarterback, not Taysom Hill running for 15 yards every play or getting sacked because he won't throw the ball. It's just how it works. And to Taysom Hill's credit, I guess he did play better. I guess I should. The last thing I said that kind of doesn't correlate with how he played, but a lot of quarterbacks can succeed behind a top 3 offensive line. That's just how it works. There they're very talented offensive line. Andreas Pete, that guy's a beast at guard. There's a lot to like about that team. But in this situation, it could get spicy, get real spicy. I think this might be where Mac Jones goes.
Ooh.
If Mac Jones is on the board at 28, they need a quarterback. Drew Brees just retired.
Yeah.
Can they ride it with Jameis Winston? I don't know. Nobody really knows. But we know they need somebody to replace Drew Brees. And this would be the perfect situation. He would come into a good coach in Sean Payton. He would come in behind the top 3 offensive line. He wouldn't get sacked much. He would have receiver options. He would have Kamara. He would have Kamara, and he'd have Thomas. And again, he would have a good coach who has coached a Hall of Fame quarterback to teach him. So I think this is where Mac Jones would go if he's available. I think this would be the perfect fit for him, and I'd wish him all the best.
Yeah. Okay, Mac Jones to the Saints. Okay, Green Bay in at 29. Green Bay, they're a team that are in their Super Bowl window. Aaron Rodgers is in the form of his life at the minute. So, do they get him a running back? Do they get him a weapon? Do they get him a lineman? Or do they go defense?
That's a good question. They just lost Corey Linsley. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was first team All-Pro this year. Yeah. He's been a really good, consistent center. Finally got the recognition. He probably was the first or second best center in the league this year.
Yeah.
Him or Ryan Kelly, whichever one you would prefer. Ryan Kelly does things different than Linsley does, but Linsley does other things better than Ryan does. Kind of that scenario. But Corey, they just, like I said, they just lost an All-Pro guy, a center. They got a guy at left guard named Elton Jenkins. He's very talented. That can play center. So if they were to need to draft offensive line here, I wouldn't be surprised. They kind of need a receiver, but based on who's on the board, who do you take here? I mean, you already got Devontae Adams. You already got Valdez Scantley. You already got the speed guy. The only people left are the speed guys. So it's like, you're picking someone that's really not in your scheme. They got 2 good corners. Yeah, Jair Alexander, who's one of the best corners in the league. They got Amos at safety. He's really talented. They got Kenny Clark at defensive tackle, who is, in my opinion, the prototypical best one tech in the league. He can rush the passer. He can do anything. Anything you want Kenny Clark to do, he can do it at the one tech defensive tackle. They got Zadarius Smith, and then they got this other Smith brother at the other side. Like, they got 2 good edge rushers. If I were the Green Bay, this is another thing though. If I were Green Bay, I would go either 2 ways. I would either go guard or I would go linebacker. That's really the only 2 needs your team truly needs at this point.
Yeah.
One of the issues they messed up last year or the year before last, they let Blake Martinez walk. Blake Martinez goes to New York this year and balls out. I mean, completely balls out. Does a great job, completely revitalizes his career, shows Green Bay they was wrong. They shouldn't have passed him up. But, that's the 2 things, like either guard or center. Or I'm sorry, guard or linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, just personally from the NFC Championship game, they need a linebacker. That's obviously where they struggled in that game. I'd quite like the idea of Saban Collins going here. Yeah,
I could say it. Who are the other ones again?
So you got Jermaine Davis 1, Bolton 2, Collins 3, Browning 4, and Jabril Cox 5.
Where is Bolton out of? Is he from
Missouri?
Missouri. Okay, and then Xzavier Collins is out of Tulsa, right?
Yeah.
Remember correctly. Okay. So I mean, neither team really. Because I think it's between them two. Zaven Collins is who I would prefer, but Nick Bolton is as well a good player.
Yeah.
I think Davis popped up just because of his pro day or something. Same thing with Brandon Browning.
Hmm.
Brandon Browning is intangible wise nothing, but he had the fifth best like pro day of any linebacker in history.
Hmm.
Like when you think of 40-yard dash, 3-cone shuttle, vertical jump, uh, and what is it called? Long jump. He had the fifth best out of anybody. That's better than Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis, Ray Lewis. I mean, any of them. He is one of the most athletic people we've ever seen. Um, so that's what's really skyrocketed his draft stock. Because I mean, Baron Browning wasn't even on like anyone's radar, dude. Like that guy
Yeah.
was just non-existent until probably a week ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it's. I'd take Xzavier Collins here. I love the fact that Baron Browning's proven his worth in the pro days or combines, whatever it was this year. But it's easy to look better without any padding, without any pressure, without any. It's easy to look better in the sparring and the shadow boxing rather than in the big fight. Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
so yeah, I think for that reason, I think they would take. Well, I would take Xzavier Collins here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, pick number 30. We're getting there. God, it's been a monstrous video. 97 minutes. Um, bear in mind, 10 minutes of that was me talking to myself. So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
yeah. 30th overall, the Buffalo Bills. And pretty solid team offensively, but defensively, especially watching the wild card. Was it the wild card game? Yeah, the wild card game. No, the championship. I can't remember. It was the wild card game, innit? We played them in the playoffs.
yeah.
Yeah. Even though we had a one-legged quarterback, we still really got at their defense. So this for me is going to be another defensive pick.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think they got all the offensive weapons they need.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're pretty set up offensive line wise. They got a few key pieces there. They got a good center. They got a good left tackle. They're solid there. They're solid in all their positions there.
Yeah.
Receiving core. I mean, Cole Beasley had a career year somehow. Dude's like 38, still balling out. Of course they had a new wide receiver come over from the Vikings.
Dick.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember his name, to be honest. I'm horrible with names. I don't know how it happens, but I can remember a whole player's profile, but I can't remember his name. But yeah, I think the most receiving yards in the whole league this year. So I think they're good there. I think they got a lot of playmakers. I think their biggest issue, like you said, is defense.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the problem? What was happening? Well, they're just getting the ball ran down their throat. They were hitting them with play action.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue. But another thing is, keep in mind, they just lost their best corner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Wait, no. Actually, hold on. Let me check. Who lost a really good? Oh, the Bears lost a good corner.
Yeah.
So they didn't lose their corner. My fault. So yeah, they have AJ Klein, defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jerry Hughes at defensive end. I mean, Jerry Hughes is pretty good, but he's nothing crazy. There's a few things. What's it say their recommended is?
The team needs cornerback, edge, wide receiver, running back again. Another one I wouldn't say. They're the main ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say they've got to take corner. They, like you said, they got done so many times on the play action last year.
Yeah. I think I don't remember who they lost. They did lose a corner. I just don't remember who they lost. They still got Tre'Davious White. They just lost someone else.
Yeah.
And their cornerback too, as it currently sits, is Josh Dorman, and he's super washed. So yeah, I guess this is where probably Newsome goes. Who's the other ones there again?
You've got Newsom at 1, Joseph, Asante Samuel, Aaron Robinson, and Elijah Molden.
Asante Samuel Jr. is intriguing just because of who his dad was in the league, but
Yeah.
I think Greg Newsom is he's the guy. I think he's definitively just compared to the other guys. I think he does have a little bit of separation compared to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I would have. I mean, they need to take defensive help here. So if it's anyone other than Greg Newsom, if it goes the way we've planned it, I'd be majorly surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of draft analysts are saying they're going to target J.C. Horn, but I don't think he falls to him.
Okay, 31. A bit more of an obvious one, I think. And, the Kansas City Chiefs, surely it's linemen, offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah, it has to be. They released both of their starting offensive linemen that were injured.
Yeah.
It's an intriguing move. I understand they're injured, but both of them were like Pro Bowlers, so I guess it's chess, not checkers. Maybe I'm not seeing something, but I guess they have to take tackle in this situation.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's kind of between Eichenberg and Redunds.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Mayfield, he was really, really renowned at the start of the year, but he had like one of the worst pro days ever. From what I saw, like his 40-yard dash is like 5.5. It's like the dude just moved like a snail pretty much the whole day, according to the graph I saw.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, I've seen a lot of film on Jalen Mayfield. He just don't move people. His technique's not great either. I think that Liam Eichenberg and Redunds are both better prospects. So narrowing it down to 2, of course. When you look at Redunds, again, he's a good player. He can play in or out. He's a pretty big guy. Eichenberg, though, on the other hand, he is huge. He's like 6'6", 300, 310. And he's really consistent. Like Eichenberg is who I compared to Anthony Costanzo. Okay. He is like a clone of him. And so since the Chiefs don't really need a guy that can play in or out, they kind of have their interior set. They just drafted Joe Thuney. They have a good center. Mm-hmm. I think Liam Eichenberg would be a safer pick than Dylan Redunds would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Really can't argue with that. For me, it was simple. You'd take the best available at position if you're the Chiefs because Patty Mahomes needs protection. And I think, if Liam Eichenberg does fall this far, I think you need to take him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he is a good player. I think he gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
It's just, in this situation, do you need this or that? And I think Eichenberg is the more applicable person in this situation.
Okay, the last pick, the reigning champs, Tampa Bay. Do they need to worry? Do they trade back? I could see them trading back here. Who do they take? Najee Harris, maybe?
Yeah, this is a good question. Tampa Bay really, they got pretty much everyone back.
Yeah.
This team just locked and loaded yet again. I guess they didn't get one of their receivers back. Who was it? Godwin? I don't think Godwin came back.
No, I don't think he could.
Yeah, someone didn't come back.
Yeah.
No. Godwin did come back. Antonio Brown didn't come back. That's who didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But how much they really need him, etc. Yeah. I guess at this point, what's to say their needs are?
Inside defensive lineman, wide receiver, inside offensive line, edge, running back, offensive. It's even saying quarterback.
Yeah.
So
if they want to take, I guess they want to take a project at quarterback or something.
I guess that's what they say. If I was Tampa Bay, you're not, when you come to drafting, you're not thinking about the next year. You're thinking about the next 3-4 years. If Najee Harris falls this far, I would take him all day long.
Yeah.
Because who's their running back at the minute? Fournette?
Yeah, I think they got the other running back left, so it's just Fournette right now.
Yeah, who is, he's not the youngest guy.
Yeah, he's hit or miss. He got released for a reason.
Yeah, so if you have no arguments, I'll draft Najee Harris here.
Yeah, that's a good pick for them.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's our draft done. It's been over an hour now. Over an hour and 40 minutes. So it's been a mental one to say, especially with all the tech issues. Just make sure, it is. Let's just run through it quickly before I'll let you go and get on with your life Xzavier. Okay, top 5. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, Penny Sewell going to Jacksonville, New York, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Cincinnati. 6 to 10, we have Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Christian Darrisaw, Trey Lance, Patrick Surtain. The second going to Miami, Detroit, Carolina, Denver, Dallas. 11 to 15, we have Quitty Play, Jalen Waddle, Rashawn Slater, JC Horn, Micah Parsons going to New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Minnesota, and New England. 16 to 20, we have Caleb Farley, Tevin Jenkins, Samuel Cosme, Rashad Bateman, Vera Tucker going to Arizona, Las Vegas, Miami, Washington, Chicago. 21 to 25, we have Aziz, Jalen Phillips, Eric Stokes, Alex Leatherwood, Therese Marshall Jr. going to Indy, Tennessee, New York, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. 26 to 30, we have Jeremiah Owusu-Kamara, Creed Humphrey, Matt Jones, Zayvon Collins, Greg Newsom II going to Cleveland, Baltimore, New Orleans, Green Bay, Buffalo. And last but not least, 31 and 32, we have Liam Eichenberg, Najee Harris going to Kansas City and Tampa Bay. We have been UK Colts fans. My co-host who's done a fantastic job of working this on the fly with me. Xzavier, shout out your Twitter, shout out your YouTube. You just released a new video.
Oh, yeah. Right now I'm doing a new series. I'm doing a top 3 of every single position in the NFL. I'm going to do a film room breakdown on all of them guys. Right now I'm starting with wide receiver. My number 3 wide receiver is Tyreek Hill. Tomorrow I've already got the film work done. Tomorrow the next day I'll release number 2, and that's Devontae Adams, and then same thing tomorrow or the next day after that I'll release DeAndre Hopkins. I'll just keep that going, and I'll move on to tight ends, and I'll move on to running backs, etc. So got a lot of content coming out. If you want to go check me out, go subscribe to me. It'll be you can find me at High Octane Analysis on YouTube. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at I'm the HOA. Nothing else, and that'll be it.
Excellent. I've been Harrison at UK Colts fans. Go and check us out. Word of note: we are trying to get film room sorted. It was just a matter of the NFL side being down that has let us down this today. So we will try and get one of them done soon. It will be on Justin Houston. So we look forward to that. And there's also some in the works what I'm trying to work out with my boss, the boss of the UK Colts fans. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you later.